Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to London, England. This is Bellator 134, the British Invasion. This will be Bellator's biggest event for 2015. We're showcasing 5 of the UK's most exciting fighters and featuring 2 world title fights, the first of which will be our main event, where Douglas Lima will defend his title against the UK knockout specialist, Paul Semtex Daley. Now, Paul has 26 wins on his record, all coming by KO. He is known as Semtex, but has dynamite in both hands. He's won 6 of his last 7 fights and will be hoping to gain the title and walk away with the belt. Paul Daley, ladies and gentlemen. Next up is our co-main event, another title fight, a world championship, where the current title holder, Emmanuel Newton, will take on unbeaten UK fighter Liam McGeary. Liam has 9 wins by KO or submission. He is a finisher, and he hopes to go home with that world title belt. All of his 6 Bellator wins have come in the first round. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, Ramul Sokaju will be taking on Linton Vassell in a light heavyweight feature fight. Linton the Swarm Vassell, another exciting UK fighter. 12 of his 14 wins have come by finish, by submission or KO, and he's won 9 of his previous 10 fights. He's on a winning streak and hopes to come home victorious. Next up, in the 265-pound heavyweight division, we feature an absolute colossus. Bobby Lashley would take on UK fighter James the Colossus Thompson. James has 11 wins by KO, 7 by submission, but he's on a win streak as well, with 5 of his previous fights being won by finish. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have an absolute cracker of a fight. 2 unbeaten fighters. Curtis Millender takes on phenomenon Michael the Venom Page. Mr. Page has 6 of his 7 wins, all coming before the end of the fight. He's a knockout specialist, very unorthodox with his stand-up. And even Anderson Silva was asked about Michael Page, and Anderson Silva said this guy is really, really special. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll open up the floor to some questions. These are your UK fighters. Any questions?
Morning, gentlemen. Start with Paul Daley out here on the left. Just your opening thoughts about this welterweight title contest.
Yes, massive opportunity. Fighting the champ on my return to Bellator. You know, I've been away for a while from the promotion. Haven't had some visa issues, but you know, I've been keeping busy while I've been away, and I think that I'm definitely going to be Douglas Lima's toughest test.
I'm just going to ask the same question going across. Just your opening thoughts on your upcoming contest, Liam.
Fight for the title against Emmanuel Newton. I'm really looking forward to this. It's an honour to represent England on such a great stage. Fighting alongside with my friends here. It's a really, really good opportunity. I can't wait to February 27th.
Michael?
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting show. Just for me, even after I finish the fight or before I even go out and fight, I'm going to be like out there watching the rest of the guys, because it's just an amazing lineup, I believe, and I think I can add to that as well. So definitely going to go out there with a bang.
Linton?
Yeah. No, I'm very excited for this fight. I've got Sokaju next. You know, he's a tough opponent. Basically, this is me coming back, you know, from my last loss. So I've got to prove a point, and it's just special representing the UK and fight with my teammates. So I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks. And finally to James the Colossus.
Yeah, like everyone said, it's Bellator putting a lot into this. They're not messing around. They're really giving us a platform which is great. They're giving an alternative to the fans and for the fighters to the UFC, which is massively important. So I'm very proud to be part of it. All us lot, you know, we really do get get on like a house on fire. Excuse me. Yeah, so no, he's great. I'm looking forward to it. I'm pleased to be part of it.
Guys, Paul and Liam, obviously Bellator are invested in you guys, building your brands in America. But do you know, or have you been told that should you win the fights, you're going to get a defence in the UK?
I don't really know if I'm allowed to say, but there has definitely been some talk of Bellator bringing the brand to the UK. A few venues have been mentioned to us, and when me and Liam do get the belts, I'm sure that you will see Bellator in the UK not too long after.
To fight in the UK for Bellator would be a great experience. I've never actually fought in the UK. I fought in Jersey, but never in England itself. So to fight in my own country would be an absolutely awesome experience. And for Bellator, being a world champion alongside Paul, yeah, I'll be looking forward to that as well.
And again to you, Liam, obviously you relocated to New Jersey full time in the US after spending some time in Jersey and obviously England. Do you feel like the UK MMA sort of media and whatever have maybe overlooked it a little bit because you're not as present in the UK as some of these other guys are?
Yeah, I left being in Jersey. There was very small opportunities for training. I left the England scene a long time ago, and I kind of just went over to America just to see how I was going to get on over there. And then things just went one thing after another, and before I knew it, I was fighting for Bellator. Now I'm getting this opportunity. So the English MMA scene is not overlooked. It's up and coming. It hasn't been discovered yet. There's a lot of talent in the UK, and for us five to be representing England, and all the other fighters to come up to look at us and be like, right, well they can do it, so why can't we do it? You know, we all come from backgrounds and we've all got history, so it's just it goes to show that anyone can actually set foot up here and do what they want to do.
Question for Linton. Just your reflections on that fight with Emmanuel Newton, who Liam's going to be fighting. You know, you came close to getting the finish a few times, couldn't quite get it locked in. Do you feel like you're still in the title picture yourself? And also, do you have any insights you could give to Liam?
Yeah, just push the pace on him. Is very slippery. There's a few times I thought I had him in the rear naked choke, or there was a time we had him in the Kimura. Just take your time a little bit. It's a 5-round fight. He's got cardio for days as well. So you got to look out for that. But yeah, I felt like I was inches away from winning that title, and I've come away from this even more hungrier than before. I know where I'm at, and I know what to do. So yeah, the best advice I give him is he's going to be slippery, and just be ready for everything.
Paul, we spoke to you last year, and you said that you were expecting to fight someone before you fought for the belt against Liam. Can you tell us what changed?
Yeah, I fought in Thailand. I fought K1 Max and had a very tough fight. I was supposed to come back and fight for Bellator. Having got that win, then I would have been given the title opportunity. But I was nursing a few injuries. I just wasn't fit to fight, basically. So. Luckily they gave me the opportunity anyway, so I'm thankful to Bellator for that.
Now, how are you feeling now? You mentioned just injuries. Is everything good for you at the minute?
Yeah, I'm good. The fight in Thailand was difficult. I took a lot of heavy kicks. I didn't like it much, and I've had a lot of other MMA fights, and I don't think I've ever felt as terrible as I felt after that kickboxing fight in Thailand, and I was in a pretty bad way, but it was something that I feel the experiences made me, even though I won, the experiences made me a lot more strong and confident in what I'm able to deal with. Yeah.
Liam, you mentioned you're all quite good friends. Seeing how Linton did against Newton. What are your feelings now? Is there a lot that you could take away from that fight to add to your own game plan?
Yeah, there is. I mean, I watched that fight over and over and over again. That's his last fight, Linton's last fight. So it's great to see my friend and see the things that he was doing, and they were working for him. I can take a lot from that. and also the stuff that I do as well, you know. And that Kimura, yeah, I remember that Kimura, man. Should have snapped his fucking arm, man.
That's right. I tried.
So yeah, man, this fight is going to be it's going to be electric. It's going to go off, man.
Liam, you've risen through the ranks quicker than a lot of other fighters managed to do. With just 9 professional fights under your belt, are you confident that now is the right time in your career for a world title shot?
Yes, I believe it is. I've been fighting around for years, you know, and for now, I wanted to fight the best people that I could fight and work my way up from the next one. So they've always got better. The caliber of every fighter has got better each time. So now I won the tournament, I did what I needed to do, and now the next step is the world title. I win that world title, and then I'm a defender.
And it's been 6 Bellator fights, 6 first-round finishes. Do you ever find yourself stopping and thinking just how quick this is all coming about? Is it all a bit of a shock to you sometimes? Yeah,
sometimes I lie there in bed at night time and I kind of start thinking about what's actually going on and how fast, and then... But then I try and stop myself from thinking, because then if you get overwhelmed and you start worrying about what's going on and you're overthinking things, so I just try not to think about it that much. I just go to the gym and train more.
And question for Paul, you've been in so many big fights over your career against so many big names. Can you talk to us a little bit about the mindset going into this fight, or is it because it is still one of your biggest fights in your career?
I think it's one of Douglas Lima's biggest fight. This is not the biggest fight for me, and I think that is ultimately is what's going to win me the fight. You know, I've been around in the sport for a long time. I've got a hell of a lot of experience in MMA at a high level, and more recently at a high level in kickboxing. If you look at some of the names on the record, some of the guys that have been in there, and then you match them to the same period in time to the guys that Douglas Lima's fighting, you know, there's no comparison. So it's definitely a big opportunity for Lima to try and get some recognition, but I'm just so overwhelmingly confident that I'm going to be too much for him, that, you know, in my mind the belt's already mine.
And finally, a question for Michael. Michael, if you look at your and Curtis's record, both undefeated prospects, the casual fan might say it's an equal fight, but to you, do you feel like Curtis is on your level?
Anybody that's I go into the cage with, in my head I'm going in there to win, so they're not on my level, so no.
Fair enough.
Follow-up question for Michael. You know, when you were introduced, Grant Waterman talked about Anderson Silva. You've caught his eye and he spoke about you and said this guy's good, really good. Obviously, you get attention with those flash knockouts and stuff. Does that give you confidence, or does it create pressure?
Neither. I just take it for what it is. It's a massive compliment to come from someone, a fighter as established as himself, one of the greatest fighters like in MMA, full stop. So just to get that recognition is, you know, for me, it's just like, it's a privilege to hear. But at the same time, I can be the person that, you know, Anderson Silva once mentioned, or I can be as big as Anderson Silva one day. So I'm not going to hear it and just, like, you know, sit back and not train as hard and so on and so forth. I got to keep pushing.
And James, you've had some ups and downs in your career, but you're riding a 4-fight win streak, and one of those wins is Bobby Lashley in 2012, quite a close decision. Do you feel like Bobby's going to come in there highly motivated, looking to claw one back?
Yeah, I mean, whenever you lose to someone, especially when the fight was so close, it was a very close fight. So, you know, he's definitely going to come in, and especially all the England US thing. Do you know what I mean? So it all adds to it. It's a big stage, like we said. So he's definitely going to come in hard and looking to kind of get that back. I mean, anyone would, but it's not going to happen, is it?
You take anything in particular from his last fight? Was with a fellow Brit, Carl Edmondson?
Yeah, not really. You know, he's just been kind of like every time. I'm the most the more serious test he's come up against has been me, and he lost that. And since then, he's just been kind of you know, beating a few donuts, and then, you know, he's come up against me again. So I know with Bobby Lashley, you know what? There's no surprises. Well, I say that I might get surprised. You know what I mean? But there shouldn't be too many surprises with him. He kind of, it's what he says on the tin. You know, what did it say on the tin again? Can't remember what it said on the tin. Forget about the tin. No surprises, forget about the tin. No comment.
James, Bobby has actually described this fight as a layup fight for him. I mean, basically, if it gets to the ground, he says that he will basically handle you quite easily. I mean, what do you say to that? I mean, he's levelled this at you, obviously coming off the back of a loss. I mean, what do you say to that?
No, not much really. I gave him a lot of crap at the previous press conference. Just a bit of friendly stroke unfriendly banter. So he's going to say things like that, and that's fine. And if he actually believes it, which I don't think he does, even better. So I hear things like that, and I just think nice one.
And Paul, Lima's basically said that he is going to stand and trade with you. First of all, do you believe him? And secondly, I mean, what do you see in Lima, if there are any threats to you?
Well, Lima is more than capable of holding his own standing against inferior opponents who can't match him for knockout power or speed or experience. Do I think he's going to stand with me? Probably for a little bit until he gets hit, and then his game plan will quickly change. There are very few fighters like me with such a high knockout ratio, and can confidently say that if I land a clean punch on you, I'm going to knock you out. And that is what I can do, and I do that with 100% conviction and confidence. With that in mind, I think Lima, after the first minute or the first trade-off, will be looking to take this fight to the ground. So, yeah.
And finally, Michael, there's been a lot of criticism of you in the past in terms of calibre of opponents that you've faced. Would it be fair to say that this is your biggest test today, or have you had your biggest test, in your opinion, previously?
The thing is, I hear it all the time, and what's going to happen is after this fight, they're going to be like, oh, he wasn't good enough. They need to put this person in front of me. Then I'm going to beat that person. Again, with my style, sometimes I make people seem a bit easier than they actually are, because I think my last couple of opponents have been really good opponents, and even some of them since that fight have gone along to win their next fight in a good fashion. But again, just the way I fight, sometimes it kind of brings them down a little bit, and again just makes people say exactly the same thing every single time. I think I'm just going to have this for the rest of my career, full stop. Like, I'll get to a high level and be like, no, they need to put this person in front of me. I beat that person. Oh, they should do this and they should do that. Again, people like Anderson Silva get exactly the same thing. Everyone in that level gets the same kind of treatment, really. If this stand-up person, you should put a wrestler against him. Then they beat a wrestler. Oh no, you need a jiu-jitsu guy against him, or this and that. It goes on. So I just don't entertain it anymore. It's just something I know I expect now every time I finish an opponent.
Question for James. Obviously, you've already beaten Bobby Lashley. I know some people describe it as a close fight. What's the motivation for you going into this rematch, if you want to call it that?
Yeah, getting beaten up on TV really, really sucks. It's not fun at all, and I have actually done that a few times too. So yeah, I don't want to be doing that. You watch your motivation. That's I don't want to get too deep on that, but your motivation should always be to come out on top. It's got to be. That's got to be your motivation. Otherwise, you're in the wrong sport. So it's like I said earlier in kind of my opening question. This is a big stage, and it's Bellator providing an alternative, a big platform, an alternative opportunity for fighters and fans other than the UFC, and that's very important. And I'm very proud to be a part of that. And I really want to put my mark on that and show that. Bellator made the right move, and they're going in the right direction with us and especially myself. So guys.
seeing some of your counterparts getting title shots, does that motivate you even more in this fight with Bobby to know that, especially he is quite highly regarded in America, knowing that a win over him could put you, 1 or 2 fights away from a shot at the belt?
Yeah, like someone asked me a question. There's been a lot of ups and downs in my career. A lot of ups and downs. Oh, sorry, I was just having a flashback. It was. Yeah, I was. No. Yeah, that was horrible. So no, there's been lots of ups and downs, and. Sorry, what was the question? Seeing other people. Yeah, no, he's seeing other people getting title shot. Definitely. I'm going to start going on about ups and downs again. I was that close to say ups and downs again. If I say that, just take me out, guys. Just take me out. No, but it is inspiring. Seeing Liam and Paul getting a shot, and Bellator coming to the UK, it's going to happen. How is it not going to happen? Do you know what I mean? We're going to clean the board, and then hopefully I'll get a shot, and it'll be in the O2, and it'll be wonderful. I hope you come along and witness it.
Question for Linton. Sergejew's considered quite a fierce and brawler striker. What's the game plan for you? Are you going to be happy to go and trade with him? We know, you like to take it to the ground and get some submissions. What kind of aspect are you looking at the fight from?
Well, the fight always starts standing, so obviously trade with him. But I finish my fights from the ground. Everyone knows that. Obviously he can train to try and stop me, but can he stop me from getting him down there and stop me from finishing him? But, to be honest, the game plan, take him down and just beat him up. That's how I win fights, and that's what I'm going to continue doing. And I ain't worried about what Sergejew's got for me. He needs to be worried what I'm going to do to him.
One for Michael Page. Michael, just mentioned earlier that sometimes you find yourself getting criticism for, some of the caliber opponents you're facing. After this fight, what do you think that you need to do to kind of shut the critics up and show them that you are the real deal?
Like I said, I don't believe they will. There's always going to be somebody different. But I say it all the time, every time I speak to any kind of press or do any kind of interview, that I am taking my time. I still feel like I am a baby in the sport. When you got people like, again, Paul and James sitting on the same table as you, and their kind of experience, I am an absolute baby in this sport. You know what I mean? So I'm just taking my time. I just have to keep winning, keep putting on a show, and then just seeing whatever option comes in front of me, and I go from there.
Question for Liam. Liam, obviously in 2014, the only thing on your mind would have been the tournament when it came to MMA. Moving forward now, does that change the way does it make an impact on the way you prepare for the fights moving forward? Now you're moving away from that tournament format.
No, I mean, as James says, it sucks getting beaten up on TV. So you don't want to get beaten up. You don't want to lose. I don't like losing. So every fight I go to train for, I treat it as a tournament final, or the first round of the tournament, I treat that as a tournament final. This title fight is what it is. I'm training for a title fight, so there's nothing. There's no day that I'm not thinking about this belt. There's no minute of the day that I'm not thinking about the belt. Every time I drift off of my own little world, I'm dreaming about the belt, head kicking, punching, finishing on the ground, anything. It's always on my mind every minute of the day. So yeah, this is why I'm looking forward to February 27th. Just stop the fight going on in there, and I can get on in here then,
And a question for Linton. Obviously, the toughest thing for a fighter to do is to rebuild and revitalise yourself after a loss. Specifically, have you changed anything up in your training to ensure you get back on the winning track?
I just train as I always train, but maybe just add a little bit more fitness in, a bit more strength conditioning. But usually just train the same. The major thing I did do is just sort of not change camps, but go and train over in the States. So that's something I've always wanted to do. And I think this loss definitely gave me the push to do that. So that's the main thing I've done. Is just gone over there to Florida and started training with some of the other boys over there.
Linton, another one for you. Obviously, it might be sort of the elephant in the room because this is being billed as the UK team and everything like that. But you fought for the title last time. Obviously, Liam's fighting for the title this time. You went to a very it wasn't a close decision, but you went into the championship rounds, and you came very close to beating the champ. Obviously, you two are now sort of pals and friends. How do you view potentially that matchup in the future? Because obviously that's what you're aiming for, the belt, and that's what Liam wants as well.
Yeah, we've been asked this question a few times, obviously, like what would happen. But we said, well, when it comes to that, then obviously we'll deal with it. We both in the same weight categories, both got our careers going for that title. So obviously when it comes to it, then obviously we'll have to fight. But I'll take one step at a time. Sokoju's next, and then whoever they got next, obviously take that person out as well. So,
Yeah, and just as an aside to that one, I don't know what's gone on, but obviously you're being presented as a team. Have Bellator made any efforts to kind of get you guys all together and train together and work as a unit before you head over to the US?
At the moment, we haven't really trained together. I've trained with James for a couple of fights, but the other boys, I haven't trained with them. But we all live. Well, Liam lives in New York, so obviously it's a bit hard for everyone to sort of.
Very awkward.
But yeah, we haven't actually trained together yet. No, but I will be training with Paul near the end of the camp over in Florida before the fight. But one day I think all of us can sort of meet up and train together. I think it's just a bit hard for everyone to come all together and train.
Yeah, and just to bring Grant into the mix, is there a specific involvement? Are you moving forward? Are you sort of consulting? Obviously, if Bellator have got UK aspirations, which clearly they have, are you being brought into the fold officially? Could you tell us any more about that?
Can't really say that much about that, but Bellator have got some huge plans this year. This show is the biggest show, the biggest card in the world, featuring 5 of the UK's most exciting fighters. It could be a launch pad for the future. I'm sure we'll see Bellator over in the UK pretty soon, but there's nothing actually down on paper yet. But keep your eyes peeled.
He has said, basically, you're that big name, you're that guy that gets him over the top in America. When he says that, what's going through your head?
What an idiot. To be honest with you. Douglas Lima, he's first of all, he didn't beat the champ to become the champion. He was put in a situation that allowed him to beat a lesser 155 small Rick Horn. And take him out with a few leg kicks to get the belt. So I don't think he's really a credible champion as yet. He's a tough guy. But like I said in previous questions, if you map our careers next to each other and you look at the level of opponent that we've been fighting, my opponents are way higher. I've been in there for a longer period of time against more experienced, more credible, more tough competition. My 7th fight. I was fighting Dave Strasser when he just finished fighting GSP over in the UFC. That was my fight number 7, So compare that to Douglas Lima's 7th fight. I think he was getting knocked out by Matt Brown, if I'm correct. So yeah, let him think what he wants to think. He's going to be in for a massive, massive shock.
Well, he's already, and we've talked to him already, and he's already spent the money on this. In his head, he's saying that he's going to take this win bonus and buy a house. Good. What do you think about? Because
what do you call it when houses get repossessed in America? Foreclosure or something like that. That's what's going to happen. Foreclosure on that property right there, because he ain't winning. He ain't beating me. Like I say, it's very tough, and I've got to give him that props. I've got to encourage him to train harder, because I don't want there to be no excuses. So if he spent the money, like I say, foreclosure on that property. If he needs to borrow a few quid or two, come and see me, and we'll sort it all out, yeah?
All right, one last question. How badly do you want to be how badly do you want to make history on this night? Because if you do win,
When I win.
You're going to be, you're going to be, the first, MMA, second, because you're going to be
Liam's going to...
that night, but there's that opportunity. How badly do you want to make history that night?
I don't know. It's hard for me to put this across in words, because I have been involved in many, many big fights. But my mental state, as it is, with my whole, I don't know. I think I've matured as a fighter, and I have a family. That's brought me a lot of focus, and I've never really emotionally felt so committed to a fight, so committed to my preparation. Everything that I need everything to be perfect. I want to be the the perfect Paul Daley that I can be, and because I see the opportunity is there for the taking. I see this as a massive opportunity, and I just see Douglas Lima as so beatable. I don't think that he's faced anybody like me, whereas I've faced guys like him a million times. Granted, I haven't won them all, but he's never been in there against a guy of my caliber. I really, really believe that, and I think he's going to find that out after the first 30 seconds of the fight.
All right, good. Moving on to Liam. When we talked to Emmanuel Newton, the first thing he said, he's not going to get beat, especially by a Brit. I mean, he was very dismissive about that. He was very straightforward, very dismissive. And the first thing, and then he went on to say, as soon as that bell rings, your life is going to be a living hell in that cage.
I don't know how he's gonna back that one up. I'm not going to lose to a Brit. He almost lost to the first Brit that he fought against. The second Brit, I'm going to beat him up. I'm not going to let the chances slip that Linton Vassell let him slip. I'm going to capitalise on everything. As soon as I get my hands on him, I'm going to break him, and he's going to feel it. As soon as I punch him in the face, he's going to feel the power that I've got in my right hand, my left hand, right kick, left kick. He's going to feel absolutely everything. I'm not going to hold anything back.
Well, there's a level of confidence when going into this fight, because he's like, I've taken King Mo's best. All right, he actually wrote off your one punch knockout power.
Yeah.
Because he seems to think that he's got the grit and the heart to go toe to toe with you and break you. I'm sorry, and that's what he said. He thinks he's going to break you in that cage on February 27th.
Man, I watch that dude every time he fights. He gets beaten up round after round after round, catches a lucky spinning back fist, or jumps on somebody's back and catches a lucky rear naked choke. For that man to stand there and say he's going to take my punch, he's going to take the best thing, good fucking luck to him, because man, I've proved what I can do enough times. Like I say, once he feels the power of my punch, man, he's not going to be saying that. The gum shield's going to be in the back of his mouth, his eyes going to be rolling in the back of his head. When you speak to him afterwards, in the 5 minutes afterwards, he's not even going to know what to say after then either. His words are going to be all jumbled up, his head's going to be a mess. I'm going to fucking murder him. Not literally, but...
No, I mean, let's get into... You have a great opportunity here. This is your chance to represent your nation inside of the cage. So you're not only just fighting for a belt, you are fighting for your country. How does that make you feel as an individual, as an Englishman? Is that a good feeling? Do you feel more pressure?
I feel the pressure if I think about it. It's an awesome feeling representing Great Britain, being the first Brit to win the title. Secondly, followed by Paul. But to have that title and to be known as one of the first English MMA fighters to win a major tournament, major title over in America, it's an awesome feeling. Ask me that same question when I've got the belt around my waist, and I'll give you a much better answer. But at the moment, words cannot explain how I'm feeling about this fight. I just can't wait. I just want to fast forward to February 27th so we can get in there, do it, and then I can be like, now I feel like this. And now this is the feeling I'm feeling.
You're sitting up here with all your fellow countrymen. Do you feel like you're a part of a team, that this is actually a real spearhead?
Yes.
Talk about that. Talk about that feeling of teamship. I mean, you guys get along great. You guys get along great in the green room. How special is that to actually be part of a team and come to America to try and impose your will on the Americans?
When I got the phone call to say I got to be in England for 7th of January, my answer was, well, how am I supposed to be here? So we're going to fly you over here. I was like, sound. All the English team was going to be. I couldn't wait to see these boys. We had a great time in San Diego when we first met up, and it was just like I wanted to catch up with them, and it's just good to see them.
It was like the Hangover, the first Hangover. If you'd have seen us cage side.
But you see how we get on. We all, and then this is the English mentality. We're all side by side. We're all warriors. We all get on, and when we get into that cage, we have to do our thing, and we're not going to shy back from that. We're going to stand, we'll wear our flag, we'll have our flags flying proudly, and we're going to show you what English MMA stands for. We're going to go in there and we're going to demolish the Americans. The Americans are going to think, well, what just happened? The whole thing is going to be an absolute blur, and it's just, they're going to get fucked up.
Great. Michael Page. Curtis Melander says that you are all flash. There's no substance to your fight game. What do you have to say to that?
I think he's correct. He's going to see a flash.
That's
He's going to be on the floor. Simple as that.
He's very confident. He says, he's like, all this Anderson Silva stuff is it's just a bunch of hype, and that American fans are going to be talking about him on the morning of February 28th.
What's his name again?
Curtis Millinger.
See, I didn't even know that. That shows you we're the same record, and no one's even talking about him now. So he's doing something wrong. So what he's trying to do is take my limelight, use me as a springboard to help his career. But if he couldn't do that in 7 fights already, even if he did beat me, let's say he did, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say he did. He still needs to do that extra work to keep building himself. I'm doing what I need to do, and he's just another stepping stone to continue my journey.
I mean, you fought on the pay-per-view, but this is actually probably a bigger card. It is, for all intents and purposes. It's our first really big card coming out of 2015. Why is this card that night going to be your coming out party?
It's weird because I was the first fight on Bellator's first ever pay-per-view, and that had its own pressures as well. I think every show. And the way they're building up this, but every show has, some kind of added weight to it. This is why, same thing as what Liam's saying, you try not to overthink about those kind of things. I'm just extremely excited to be fighting on a show that's being so hyped up, and it's hyped up for a reason because, you got 5 of the best Brits, going to take out the Americans. And I'm just happy to be a part of that. And I always say that I'm just happy to be a part of just being on Bellator and representing Bellator. I'm just happy to be a part of it. So I just don't take all of that and add it to my shoulder. I think about it, I feel happy about it, and I go into training with that same excitement and just keep improving. Being a showman,
MVP is all about being an entertainer. Now you're going to be able to do it not just for the American fans but for British fans. Is the fact that you're going to be fighting for your countrymen and having the eyes of a nation watch you, does that kind of give you chills? And why?
I say this every single time. I do not care if you're cheering or booing. As long as there is more eyes, you're going to see more out of me. So the more you tell me that there's more people watching, it just means more trouble for Curtis. It seriously does, because I just go, I don't know what it is, and that's the second I feel a spotlight on me, like moves just start coming out from nowhere. I'm sorry.
One more question for you, and then we'll move on. You're the young gun on here. You're the youngest guy. All right. What does it feel like right now to be sitting up here with your teammates? Talk about that, because there's a lot of experience. There's a lot of talent sitting up here at this table. What are you taking away from that, and what does it mean to be a part of this team?
To be fair, it does mean a lot. These are everybody here. Before I actually got a chance to meet all of them, I had watched every single one of them, and it's weird that I had never come across some of the people before. I know James do a lot of training in shoots. I used to see Linton on the UCMMA shows and the cage race, but again we never actually crossed, ever stood actually had a conversation and stuff. But it kind of feels right that it happened now, that we're all on the same show. And like I said, we had an absolutely amazing time. In San Diego, absolutely amazing time. And like he's saying, when you hear that everyone's going to be down here, you're just like, yeah, I just want to catch up with the guys. For me, it's more about that. I really do enjoy the trips that I go on as well. I think it's all a part of your experience fighting as well. But going out, meeting new people, networking, even with the Bellator team, the back office, people that don't get to be on camera, they're all amazing, and the stuff that how they help me out while I'm out there. I travel by myself, and so I get there. Sometimes it's quite difficult to do. So when you get there, having people that are welcoming. Makes a massive difference, and then having people that you're going to see out there that you got a good bond with in the short amount of time that you've met them. Again, it's amazing. It just makes you want to be there even quicker. So I'm loving it right now.
Great, thank you, Linton. Sokaju sees you as a stepping stone. Why is that the biggest mistake of his career to this point?
Because I know he says he's 30. I think he's more like 40 something, but. He's at the end of his career. I'm 31. I think I'm just sort of not even at my peak yet. So I've come off a loss, and it was against a world champion. Put him against the world champion, he would have probably lost in the first 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I don't see what he's got to trouble me. You know, I've got the range, I've got the height, I've got the fitness, you know, I've got the power, I've got the strength, I've got the groundwork, I've got the strikes. I don't see what he's actually going to, you know, trouble me with, to be fair.
He doesn't see the fight going on to the first round. Why is he mistaken?
Because he's going to get subbed, that's why.
Well, what are you going to do? How
What I'm going to do?
When you look him in the eye.
Well, I'm going to beat him up first. I'm going to mess around with him, you know, get his back, get an arm, and then when it's time to finish him, before the buzzer goes, I'm just going to sink the choke in. Simple as that.
What statement are you going to make with this fight? Because this is, you know, you're coming off a loss.
Yeah.
But that, you know, the thing is, you gave Emmanuel Newton, you gave him a fight.
Yeah.
The first three, I mean, that literally is, that was the fight of his life. You said, you made a statement for that fight. What is this statement going to be on February 27th?
This is going to show about, you know, I got caught slipping. You know, he caught me at the end. Well, not at the end. He caught me in the 5th round, you know. This fight is just going to show that basically I'm making my way back up, you know. I shouldn't have lost that fight, but I did. But, you know, I'm going to start my win streak again. And Sokoudjou's my stepping stone, to be fair, you know. I don't see him going for a title fight, even if he did beat me, which that's not going to happen. You know, I'm more than ready for Sokoudjou, you know. As I said, he's at the end of his career. He's not 30. He keeps trying to say he's 30. He's trying to be young in the mind, where, you know, he's about 45. So, you know.
Talk about, I mean, you came so close. How does that make you hungrier? How does that drive you in, you know, when you're training? Now that you have this opportunity on, you know, our biggest card of the year, how does that make you hungrier to go out there and do something special that night?
Because it actually shows you how close I got to being a world champion. Everyone talks about being a world champion, but to actually be a world champion, that's just going to be my dream come true. And I know how close I was. I know for a fact I can do it. And I'm in this game to be a world champion. And, you know, that's what gives me the drive. You know I can do it. Just got to put more hours in, you know, a bit more training, and it will come. The time will come.
Talk about the sense of brotherhood you have up here, because it seems like you guys just really get along.
Yeah.
Talk about that sense of brotherhood.
Yeah, these boys are. So I've trained with James, you know, so we've got a close bond, and just connecting with these boys, you know, we all just clicked. It wasn't like, oh, this is James, how you doing? You're right. It was actually, how you doing, boys? We all clicked together, same as Liam. You know, there's really another dull moment with us. All of us just, you know, have laughs with each other, and I think this Team UK has brought us closer together. You know, I've got their numbers and everything like that. You know, we talk, and you know, to be a part of Team UK is definitely something special, and we're all gonna, you know, unite together and go as a team, and we're gonna come up victorious.
Mr. Thompson, Bobby Lashley says, and he's
Bobby Lashley
said,
what's he been saying?
This is what he said.
What's he? Come on, listen. What's he been saying?
He said he took this fight. He wasn't prepared.
Right.
He took it on short notice, and he won that fight. He said he won that fight. I mean, you are the one who got his hand raised. How insulting is that?
Oh, what's he like? What's he like, that Bobby Lashley, eh? Oh, no. Look, it was a close fight. I won't like give you a play through all of it, but you know, he came at me hard first round. He broke my orbital bone in that fight, and I had to go through the other two. And he was. My plan was to stop him taking me down, get him tired, and then finish him on his feet. What happened was he came out strong, broke my orbital bone, couldn't take me down after that, got tired, but was beating me to the punch, so I had to make it a messy fight. I took it to the cage, kept him there, and just threw a lot of knees and punches and got the victory. But I tell you about that fight, and this is why I know I'll beat Bobby Lashley this time, because it's his heart, and that's something, you know, something you can't train at, but that's 100% true. It's his heart, and he doesn't want it as much as I do. And I'll give you a small example. When I was in the clinch, I kneed him in the balls by mistake. That was the first time. The second time, I got him I was tired, so it was a bit of a lazy knee. But I did get him just over his hip, and as I threw the knee, I looked down, and that's where I saw it. And what did he do? Just trying to buy time. Do you know, and I just thought to myself, so it was an absolutely smart move, because that could have lost me a point and could have lost me the fight. But it didn't. But what that showed me was that he doesn't really want to. When it gets down to the, the nitty gritty, so to speak, he hasn't got that push, and I have, and that's why I'm going to win.
What statement are you going to make with this fight? Because you've been around for so. You've been around.
Stop saying that. Everyone's making me feel so old.
You're not. But
oh, thank you.
And the thing is, what I'm trying to say is, you're a great representative of British because you've got grit, you've got heart. You talked about heart.
He said far.
Yeah. I know. I'm sorry.
It's been in that room. Listen, that was one time. It wasn't even that bad. We opened a few windows and everything was fine.
But you talk about you fought that fight with a broken orbital and you still won. You're tough. What statement are you going to make on February 27th?
I am tough. You're right. What statement I'm going to make? I'm going to show, but this is not, I'm not going to be able to make it. I don't think in this fight. It's going to be, I've had a lot of losses, and I've had a lot of bad losses, which I shouldn't have done, which were down to myself. A lot of them. Now I can't do anything about them. They're gone, and that's always going to be the case. What I can do something about is try and correct that in different ways. And Bobby Lashley is a part of that. He's not the only way Bobby Lashley can get out of me taking his soul and destroying him mentally and physically if he injures himself pretending to injure people. Unless he doesn't make the fight, there's no way. There's no way I'm going to lose this. And like I said, the statement I'm going to make is I don't know what statement I'm going to make, but it's going to be good. So watch to see what statement I'm going to make, because I don't know yet. That's how exciting and surprising it's going to be.
My last question.
Okay. I'm picturing.
You've been all over the world.
I have.
Like I said, this is the sense of this is a great opportunity. This is kind of a privilege to be fighting with your brothers up there.
Yeah, 100%. It's a privilege, and it's look. Me and Paul have been around a long time, and we've seen UK MMA how it's advanced. Like people still don't know. People know a lot more than they used to. It used to be when you used to try and I had to sell tickets for a fight. People used to, and they used to say what it is. I used to say cage fight. They used to ask me if it was to the death, and is it barbed wire and chairs? And I used to tell them just to sell them the ticket. Do you know what I mean? But we've come a long way from that, to be on a card, obviously I'm sad it's not going to be myself to be the first guy, first British holder to hold a major title, because that's a massive thing. But I'm really proud and I'm really pleased for Paul and Liam, and I'm really happy to support them. You weren't even listening, were you? I gave it everything. I gave it to. You're not even listening. Don't make me fart again. That's all I'm going to say.